Hey, it's Ashley, the Boot Babe, and we are live on Western Fashion Behind the Scenes. Today, we have my very good friend, Linz Stanley. She is Cowgirl magazine's best dressed at the NFR this year. It's really exciting because I've seen that lately she's been working with Idyllwind. I can't wait to talk to you. Hi, Linz. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much.
It's really fun to be here. We've had lots of conversations in person, and I thought it would be so fun to bring this to Western Fashion Behind the Scenes. So tell me, how did you become the best dressed woman at the NFR?
First of all, I was completely shocked and honored that I was even on that list or Cowgirl magazine even knew who I was. There were so many incredible women on that list with incredible outfits and who are doing so much for their communities. So I was very honored and very lucky to be on that list. I love NFR fashion. I love the NFR. I love the community that goes there. I also just love the traditional sequins glamour type of outfits, and so that's what I went for because I feel like that's very true to who I am as a person and my style, and lo and behold, I ended up on their list, so I'm very thankful and had my fur coat and my long sequin dress, and I felt very comfortable as me in that space, so that's very exciting to be on that list as myself.
I love that. It's fun because you have a alter ego, I would say. You got famous because of cosplay, right? Costume play. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, funny story there. I was actually playing World of Warcraft because I love old Zelda and Nintendo 64 games and Super Nintendo. So I'm probably dating myself here, but decided to go to a convention called BlizzCon. I saw that people dressed up and I have a theater and dance background. I thought it'd be really fun to go and dress up as one of the characters that I played in the game at the time. Ended up on all of these websites and like yahoo.com and microsoft.com and all kinds of stuff. And that launched me into cosplaying and it was just something to do for fun because I had a full-time job and was working long hours all the time and so it was just a fun artistic outlet to go and dress up and I met other people who were doing it at the time and it's come a very long way since then because gosh, that was in 2008, and so now it's more popular on social and it's more popular with different types of materials that you can use and 3D printing, and it's changed entirely, but it's been fun, especially doing some Star Wars stuff or even for DC. I worked for DC at a Comic-Con a couple of years ago, and that was really fun. So, it definitely has brought me a lot of really fun opportunities, and I'm thankful for the experience and having friends who also like to get dressed up.
I wonder about the NFR and about your friends. Have you always gone to the NFR? Tell us a little bit about the journey for you to the NFR because I appreciate that you remember when there was Microsoft.com. I don't know what Microsoft.com is anymore, but I do know that people will recognize that because, yeah, there was a time when the internet was just barely, right? We had MySpace and Facebook, and then this all happened in our lifetime.
So the NFR for me came about. So I grew up riding horses in Norco, California, and that's where I learned to ride. And I would just go out with my friends all the time. And then we would always go to local rodeos, especially like the Norco rodeo. And Ukaibe now has a rodeo as well, the Santa Maria rodeo. We would always just go to rodeo because there wasn't really a whole lot to do out there at the time. Now it's built up so we would go and enjoy, and then I started riding out here in San Juan Capistrano, and a few of my barn girls were like, "Hey, there's this thing called the NFR. It's the National Finals Rodeo in Vegas. I think you would love it. We should all go." And so I went 3 years ago now. This year will be my 4th year going. We had the best time. I've been going ever since. So it has been just a wonderful experience, and I've met so many amazing people who also attend. And one of the gals, I was just on a work trip in Phoenix. I got to visit her, and I just met her at this past NFR. It's really fun to have people that you get to stay in touch with years after, so
I like to call it pen pals. So I had pen pals as a kid, and I really believe that this is like a pen pal system. And what's fun about podcasts is it lets people get to know you that might have never known who you were before. Giving someone a peek into your life, right? I know that you're involved in the power sports industry and you're quite a baddie on a bike, right? You ride, I mean, you have a Kawasaki hoodie on, I can see this. And so, yeah, she's representing. So tell us a little bit about that for everyone who is wondering, because you're multifaceted and I love this.
So I like to describe myself as Western because that's my roots. Grew up writing. I love all things Western culture and morals and values. And wine is my new frontier. I'm taking my WSET 3 right now, which is really exciting. So that's a level 3 wine certification. Then whimsy, which kind of tarts into my artistic, creative side, whether that's dressing up in cosplay or painting or interior design or anything creative, and that falls in that space. For my day job, I do work in marketing for the Powersports industry, and it'll be 5 years in May. It's so much fun to learn something completely different. I grew up riding quads and whatnot in Pismo Beach, which is Central California. Really fun to get on a motorcycle or a side by side. And honestly, it made me become a better horseback rider and vice versa because it just makes you more aware and makes you more grounded in your space. And anytime that I get nervous on a horse or on a bike, I think, okay, remember what you do when you're on a motorcycle. Remember what you do on a horse. Take a deep breath and just pay attention to what's happening. It's all a really great grounding experience that I'm very lucky to have.
I love this. This is such a good insight into what you do every day and who you really are. Tell me, where'd you get your first pair of cowgirl boots? Do you remember?
Oh my gosh. I think I had a pair of Ariats as a kid, and I always had a larger size foot. So it was really hard to find, first of all, to find any cute Western clothes anywhere that were cute in girls' sizes or even in women's sizes. Now, completely different industry, which I'm also very thankful for.
Okay, so give us like an
Um,
idea of how, like, the year span. Like, what year were you looking for clothing that you couldn't find the clothes?
Oh my gosh. It probably when I was maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up and through high school and,
And was this like, what year did
um
you graduate high school? Just to give people an idea, because I graduated in 2004 and I couldn't find
okay.
up until probably like 2000. I couldn't find jeans when I graduated high school that I liked. I was not there yet for sure. I was still wearing a curl girl, like rocky, I don't know, anything that was long enough. Oh, some MWCs if I could had to do it, but I'd be cardboard stood up in the corner. Go ahead.
Yes, yeah. So I graduated in 2007, and there was, like, a local kinda tack shop, feed shop that would have some Wranglers, and but I always ended up just having to buy the men's sizes because they didn't have my size for women or they didn't fit right, and because 'cause I'm curvy, and so that always makes it difficult, but even in motorcycle gear, it's the same thing where I'm always
Okay,
still having
define curvy. We have to define
men's gear.
curvy. Like, what is it? Because, like, when you're a size model, right? So you're like, hey, this is what kind of size I am. We were talking about this before, but it'd be good to clarify because people want to know.
Yeah, totally. So I'm curvy. So I have an hourglass figure and I'm 5'8". I have a little bit of everything with a small waist. It makes it very hard to find clothes that fit. I end up just having to buy men's sizes in a larger size. And then I also have a decently long inseam as well. So that makes it very complicated.
You're like, I have trouble finding clothes. So it's fun because recently you started working with a brand that sent you things that fit you really well.
Yes, yeah. I'm working with Idyllwind right now, and thank God for Idyllwind and Miranda Lambert because every single piece of clothing that I have purchased from them or that they have so graciously sent me fits like a glove. I don't know what magic they make in their stitching or in their fabric, but everything just fits effortlessly. And I wish that I had this growing up as a kid and even through high school because it would have made me so much more confident as a person rather than just wearing men's clothes in gray, black, and blue.
I hear you totally. I'm excited that you're expressing this because I think a lot of women feel the same way. I think some women are nervous to get back in the game or, hey, I don't have Western fashion anymore. Like, I just wear boots and jeans and a t shirt, which is totally great. I'm all for whatever works for you. And if a woman wants to step out of their comfort zone, what would you tell them?
Oh my gosh, do it. I think I found my style. I was very much a tomboy, right? Because I rode horses and I was wearing men's clothes. So for me, I would just go to the store and honestly pick out the most ridiculous looking thing or something that completely was out of my comfort zone. And it was almost like exposure therapy, right? Like the more I went into a store and tried something on that I was like, this is definitely not my style, but I want to try it on just to see what it looked like, the more comfortable I got in my style and in myself and in trying different types of fashion or different things that would fit my body type and just feeling secure about my body or who I was as a person because going through a space where the internet was very new, there was still a lot of cyberbullying and a lot of people that didn't appreciate or care for troll.
Straight up trolls.
Um,
Okay, let's just call it like it is. There are
sure.
trolls out there. There are
Yes.
people who don't have enough self-confidence to figure out their own shit, and then they comment bad things on people's posts.
Always. During 90s and early 2000s, diet culture was a huge thing where all of the models were very thin, and if you didn't fit that body type or that mold, you didn't fit in anywhere. So, having to navigate that and now finally being like, "You know what? Screw it. This is my body. This is who I am. I'm going to accept it. I'm gonna try on every piece of clothing that I love and feel good in it, and if it fits my body type and I enjoy it, great. I'm gonna wear it." Some things, if it doesn't make me happy, I'm not gonna wear it. So that's just how I live my life, and that would be the encouragement that I would wanna give other women where it's okay to step out of your comfort zone. It's okay to be secure in who you are. Sure. Are we always going to be happy with our bodies or our mindset or where we are spiritually? No, but always something to learn and grow and work on, but also be content with who you are as a person, how far you've come. And that should also be reflective in your style because at the end of the day, fashion is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be restricting.
Yes, that's a great quote. Fashion is supposed to be fun. And that's where if you see someone create something, it's an honor to do what they do. People do fashion shows. Louis Vuitton did the men's fall fashion show. It was out of this world. And what did they do that for? For the world to copy them, correct or not correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting is I see a lot of influence from other designers in that collection as well. I'm glad that Louis Vuitton is in this space. Obviously, Western fashion is a very hot trend and has been for the last couple of years. And now it's gaining more traction in these large designer brand spaces. And I'm excited for people to come back to Western because I think for a long time, people didn't feel comfortable in these spaces. And I relate it a lot to even the motorcycle world. There's sometimes a certain culture where people think, oh, if I ride a motorcycle, I have to be like this. And that's not the case. You can enjoy the sport, you can enjoy motorcycling, you can enjoy motorcycle fashion just like you can Western fashion. You don't have to be a certain type of person to enjoy a style.
Everyone is welcome. I just saw Courtney D. Huff post about this. Did you see this post?
I did. I did.
Fancy Lady Cowgirl. Tell me a little bit about have you followed her? Tell me about some of your inspirations and who you like to follow.
I do follow her, and I would love to attend her Fancy Lady Cowgirl event, one year. It just seems so amazing. My schedule, unfortunately, did not allow me to do it this time, but obviously, you are a big inspiration ever since I first met you. I feel like you and I have just clicked, and I just appreciate all that you do for the community and this industry, and always having the hot scoop on all things boots, which I love.
You're so sweet. That's very kind of you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Obviously, Dolly Parton, Reba McEntire, grew up listening to them, watching them. Big hair, sequins, very much me, very Dolly inspired. Even in singing too, like I just sometimes have a little bit of a twang to my voice, and I'm like, oh, that's Dolly and Reba. I know that. But also, I love Lainey Wilson. I love Jackie Crawford, Fallon Taylor. I love even some of our Western fashion influencer friends, Western Gringa and West Desperado and Judea Kirsch and all of those gals in that space are just doing so much good for the community and they're all kind. Neon Wrangler, another favorite of mine as well. Amanda's so sweet. So just very thankful to know these women and to now be a part of this community and in a small way, but still be a part of it.
Oh, I think it's a big way. When Cowgirl Magazine says you're the best dressed at the NFR with a few other ladies, that's a big deal. They have transcended the Western culture for sure. And we're trending into mainstream, right? We just saw the Grammys. We saw Miley Cyrus do an homage to Dolly, and it was really amazing. And the BBC covered it. There's been some wild adventures where we're headed up I think, bigger and bigger, right? Stetson already can't keep up with the demand. They are out of stock. It's hard to get a hat still, right? So it's fun because I think that when Urban Cowboy came out in 1979, some of the companies went from 30,000 to 3 million, and we're doing that again, right? They're going from 3 million to whatever, 40 million or whatever, because it's where people want to be connected to the roots. They want to understand where we came from. Culture has become a way bigger deal, and culture in America was very Americanized, and our American culture is wackadoodle compared to the rest of the world. Do you think that the culture of Western in general is accepting? How have you felt around not being accepted or being accepted, seeing people go through those things? Give me a little insight around that.
Oh, I think it's changed a lot. I think in the beginning, it was very much you had to grow up on a farm. You had to be fifth or sixth generation in agriculture, whatever your title is, grower or worker or land or property or things like that. Out here for us in California, obviously it's a little bit different because we don't have land. We have farming and a lot of that's in Central Coast, but down in Southern California, we don't have land. Housing's really expensive. It's really expensive to own, board, ride horses, and even hay and alfalfa costs are insane right now. And a lot of the old, like Norco used to be an old kind of dairy town where they had tons of cows right off the freeway. And everybody knows as you're driving through Norco, it smells like cows. But now it's all housing. And so obviously, I think it has changed a lot. I remember going into a boot barn where all it was just boots and a couple of brands then, and now they have their own lines and lots of brands, and it's a completely different experience, but I think the culture has changed a lot, and I want to say it's been more accepting. I think there's still a lot of, "You have to be this and this to be in this space," but I don't think you have to be anymore. I think you can admire it and want to get in it. How does one become a farmer if you're not gonna learn how to farm, or you know what I mean? And so it's interesting, especially as I'm taking this wine class, I'm learning a lot about farming agriculturally and how to grow grapes and grow vines. I think the space it still has a lot to work on, and I appreciate and understand those old traditional cultures and values because they are valuable. And even something out here in California, it's lost because but we've also lost a lot of land and a lot of farms and things like that.
Do you see yourself staying in California for the long term?
Good question. I don't know. I work and live out here. My family's out here. We'll see. I do enjoy it. The weather is beautiful. It's always 70 degrees and lovely, and I'm close to everything, but I'm open. I don't want to say it's forever, but I'm open. I just haven't found anywhere that feels like this could be my new home.
Okay, I love
So
this.
we'll
And
see.
I have to ask about your dating life because I'm sure that it's 40% men and 60% women that listen to this podcast. And so the men that are listening for sure are like, what? This girl she's got all the things. So you are dating. Are you available to date or what's up?
Yes, I am single. I am looking for somebody who is kind and genuine and tall.
Because how tall
And,
are you? You're 5'8", right?
I'm 5'8", yes, and I like to wear heels. So I'm usually either 6 foot or 6'1" in heels. I also like to dance. I can get down on the dance floor and do some two-stepping and salsa really. Yeah, at this point, I'm 35. I know I'm dating myself here, but I want to find somebody who is emotionally, financially, spiritually balanced, mature, or things like that. So I'm really just enjoying my life and with work and with wine and doing fun shoots and stuff on the side until I find my right person. So I'm just taking it easy. And if you're out there or if you have a friend, hit a girl up.
Yeah. How do we find Linz Stanley? This is a good question right here.
All of my handles are at Linz, Linz, and then Stanley, Stanley. And if you Google me, you'll find all of my fun adventures. Oh,
You live a pretty
I've,
public
I've
life,
been on
which
the internet a long time.
yeah, and it's amazing. I think that's part of the culture, the internet culture. You look at Logan Paul and you look at all these like really big sensational internet stars, and the reality is it's just what you make it. You either make it fun and enjoyable for people, you tell them amazing stories, or it doesn't work and you leave, and then you're just the consumer, right? You're a creator or a consumer, and that's where we're at in this world. So keep creating. I'm so grateful you're here today. Thanks for being on.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is Ashley, the Boot Babe, and we have been live on Western Fashion Behind the Scenes with Linz Stanley. Thanks for being here. Just remember, it's always a good time to wear cowboy boots.